Welcome to the Priority Lane podcast, the show where we explore the power of prioritizing and how it can be used to achieve real growth by doing less, but doing it better. I'm your host, Nigel Catt, and each episode I sit down with successful people to uncover how they filter out the noise and focus on what really matters. We'll also take time out and delve back into history to uncover bizarre or unusual events and see what lessons can be learned, or if it was just not worth talking about at all. Today on the podcast, we're joined by Holly Scobie, a global traveller, entrepreneur, and living proof that you sometimes can have your cake and eat it too. Holly left Australia at 18 and spent the next 10 years travelling the world while building and scaling a digital media agency business completely on her own. She managed clients across various time zones, lived out of a suitcase, and built systems that allowed her business to grow no matter where she was. Now, for the first time in a decade, she's back in Australia with a place to call home, and today she's sharing what it really takes to build a business on the move. So, Holly, welcome, and thank you for coming on the podcast.
Thank you so much. That was such a nice opening.
No problems at all. Now, I have to be honest, I've been really looking forward to having you on the podcast, as there's no doubt there's a lot of people who would like to do what you have done, start a business that enables them to travel the world. I want to delve into how you achieve this and what advice and tips you have for people who want to do the same thing. So, are you ready to get started?
Yes, I have so many tips. Let's go.
Okay. Well, let's start before you started traveling. So, growing up, did you have a desire or an urge to travel?
I think it was kind of inbuilt in me. My family, we moved house almost every single year. I think my mum had the travel bug or just the moving bug. I went to about 6 schools. I couldn't stay still. I was always trying to do something new and something interesting. I didn't want to live like everybody else was living. So I think that's probably where it came from.
Okay. So let's talk about when you did start traveling and you left Australia. Was this meant to be a the big adventure, or was it just a normal short-term holiday?
So basically, as soon as I graduated high school and I turned 18, I had my first taste of freedom and I booked a trip straight away. I always had jobs since I was very young, like, 14, cash in hand, whatever your older sister could get you doing in the back of the shop. I saved up lots of money and I went, much to my parents' dismay, a fresh 18-year-old all alone, backpacking Southeast Asia by myself. And I went for 4 months. And then I called my mom and said, "Hey, I've spent all of my money and I need to come home now. I've finished." And she regretfully booked my ticket home. And then ever since then, I was like, I can do anything.
Right. Okay. So you always like to travel, move around. You got the travel bug. So when you departed on the long journey, was there a time frame in mind?
No, I packed up my room, I packed up my house, I put everything in storage, and I had no idea what I was doing. I just left the country, um, had a dream and no plan, no timeline, and it took me all over. I couldn't have planned anything that happened in my life. It's crazy. It's like a book.
Okay, so your travels took you to a number of countries. What would you say would be the highlight countries, the ones that really struck a chord with you?
Oh my God. Like all of them scratch a different itch. Some of them are fantastic because they feel a bit more like home, and then others, they're so easy to travel, and the tourism industry is set up so amazingly, and the path is there for you to follow. And then on the complete opposite and others feel completely unknown and untouched, and I loved shifting between them all. If I needed a little bit more like home, head to Europe, head to the UK, and then off the beaten track, South America, things like that.
So, and I guess Well, what you're saying is that different countries just provide different experiences and different opportunities. Um, and I guess they challenge you in different ways as well.
Yes, every single one, different challenge, different cultures, different people, even the people who travel there, who are nomads or just travelers like yourself, they pose even more of a challenge than the locals, you know? The locals are always friendly and inviting, but sometimes you go somewhere and then there's too many British people and like even if you're in Thailand or something, and you think, oh, that's too much.
So, so did you notice a marked change, or did others notice a change in you from the Holly that left to the Holly that came back home years later?
Oh my goodness. I don't think you could say you went overseas if you didn't come back changed. It sounds so cliche. People say you find yourself, but I think that it's through challenges and hardships and everything going wrong that you really find how resilient you are, how you can put up with challenges in your life, and it builds sort of trust with yourself. It shows you that you can overcome things, scary things, panicky things, slight inconveniences when you're, I don't know, when you haven't had enough sleep and you're grumpy, that really make you feel like you've met yourself and know your true limits.
Well, that's the great thing about travel. It puts you in foreign, unfamiliar environments and forces you to adapt and grow as a person. And I guess being away from familiarity, it opens up it increases the chances of something going wrong, which leads us into this episode's historical event. As you know, each episode we delve into a quirky historical fact of the month that we're in, which happens to be January. So before we move on to the business side of your story, let's get all historical. This historical
Beautiful
event is a bit more.
segue.
Thank you, thank you. Been working on it. This historical event is a bit more serious to be labelled as quirky, as 9 people unfortunately lost their lives. However, it is a very intriguing story and well worth telling. It's called the Dyatlov Pass Incident. Have you ever heard of this story?
I've never heard it in my life.
Okay, okay. It was a very intriguing story. I first heard it about a year ago on the podcast. They dedicated about 50 minutes to it. It's very intriguing. So our quick 2-minute overview is really just that. It really is just an overview. Generally, I try to keep these segments down to about 60 seconds, but you can't do it with this one.
Mhm.
You really need to put all the
Give it its
details in
moment.
there. Give it its moment, do it justice. Okay, so let's go and do it. So it's the Dyatlov Pass. Now that is Dyatlov. If anyone wants to have a look at it, because it is a
I
great story.
do.
Okay, starts in January 1959. 10 experienced hikers, led by 23-year-old Igor Dyatlov, embarked on a 200-mile ski trek through the Ural Mountains in Russia. One member turned back early due to health issues, leaving 9. Now, worsening weather forced the group to change plans, and they set up camp on the eastern slope of Dead Mountain. Not a good sign, and were never heard from again.
Oh
A
no.
search party was launched, and when they found the bodies of the missing hikers, the scene was so horrific that would inspire conspiracy theories for decades to come. The first 5 victims they found died of hypothermia. 2 of these were found in their underwear near a tree where they had tried to maintain a fire. Both appeared to have burns on their hands. Curiously, the branches of a nearby tree were broken 5 meters up the trunk. Had they climbed it to get a better view, or trying to escape from something? The other 3 were found between the tree and the tent, appearing to have died while trying to crawl back to shelter. Now, the tent, which was a bit of a way from the trees, had been slashed from the inside. But all their belongings, including boots and coats, were left behind in a neat arranged order. Footprints showed the group had walked calmly, not ran, toward a nearby forest in sub-zero temperatures. Months later, after the snow thawed, the remaining 4 were found at the bottom of a ravine in a running stream of water. They had suffered massive internal trauma, including fractured skulls and crushed chests. One was missing her tongue and eyes. Another had trace amount of radiation on their clothes, and another's neck was twisted and eyebrows were missing. The initial Soviet investigators blamed a compelling natural force and quickly closed the case. This led to decades of theories involving secret military tests, infrasound-induced panic, botched alien abductions, and even Yeti attacks. An
Yes.
avalanche was a popular theory. However, the slope was deemed to be too gentle for an avalanche to occur naturally. Some experts thought a test involving radioactive weapons could explain the burns on some of the victims and the radiation on their possessions. The contamination of their clothing could also be explained away by the presence of the chemical thorium in their gas lanterns, and the missing body parts were potentially eaten by scavenging creatures, but there was no definitive answer. 60 years later, significant scientific breakthroughs showed that a slab avalanche could have occurred on the slope. Researchers used computer models to show a cut made in the snow to pitch their tent, combined with heavy wind-blown snow, could have triggered a slab of snow to slide down the slope hours later. A simulation from Disney's Frozen showed the snow slab would have hit the hikers with the force of a four-wheel drive, enough to break ribs and skulls. However, some experts disagree with the slab avalanche theory, but also admit they can't put forward any alternate theories. Will we ever know what happened in January 1959 on the slope of Dead Mountain, Siberia? So, Holly, an incredible story. Any
Oh
thoughts on
my
your side as
goodness.
to what?
I think you should start a true crime podcast. I was on the edge of my seat. It was nefarious enough that Disney movie Frozen got involved.
We got it all.
I know you did some
Yeah,
traveling.
no,
Did you ever go to Death Pass? Death Mountain? What was it called?
Death Mountain. Yeah,
I
Death
don't think
Mountain in Siberia.
you would have.
Would have got close to it. We did the Trans-Siberian. It was a bit
Oh
north of where
no.
the Trans-Siberian, but were there the same time of year. This happened in January, obviously the middle of
Oh
the
my God.
Siberian winter. We were there in January as well. I wouldn't want to
Well,
be
it sounds
walking
like
around in the snow for.
you took the name of it as warning. These people, not so much.
Well, yes, yeah, exactly. And I was just reading that with the avalanche theory, which is the most popular one of the
Theory.
flaws of that theory, yes, is that the footprints. So the footprints show the people walking from the tent towards the forest in a nice, calm fashion. They're saying if an avalanche occurred with the injuries they sustained, there's no way
Yes.
they'd be able to walk unaccompanied to where they were going. And the footprints, as they said, they were nice and calm. They weren't running. They were singular. They weren't assisting each other. So yeah, who knows? Who knows what's
No
happened?
avalanche.
Now, Holly, I know you're a bit of a traveller, and you seem interested in this story. So I also did find that there is a Dyatlov Pass expedition happening in January 2026. So as we speak, you better hurry up.
Oh my
Following the group's
God.
route. Yes. Oh, here we go. It's planned for January the 20th through to February the 1st, 2026. So if
This
you are
year?
keen, hurry up.
Let's
Sorry.
go. We'll see
Yes,
if they ever
yes.
return.
Well, we'll see if we can get a different outcome as well. So,
Maybe you can have them as your next guest. See how it went.
yes. Good idea. Now, in all your travels, now I'm guessing you didn't have anything as horrendous as what these 9 hikers had. But in your travels in foreign places, did you come across circumstances where you thought you were completely lost and didn't know how you're going to get through it?
Every single time, almost every single day. I think any long-term traveler can tell you that it all goes wrong all the time. Anything as small as, your phone dies, you're lost. You get on the train the wrong direction. Somebody steals your phone, your laptop. You lose your passport. Not speaking from experience in any of these things. This all happened to me. But nothing that daunting at all. But I will tell you, when I was in Guatemala, I hiked a very active volcano, and we hiked the volcano. It was very long. I think it was 9 hours up there. You sleep there and then you go back down. And the whole time you're watching the volcano next to you explode. It's so beautiful. It goes off like every 15 seconds. It's so stunning. And it was all
Wow.
beautiful. It was all fine. And then it wasn't until months later I come home and I'm watching a documentary on the world's most deadly natural disasters. And they said in 2013, Mount Fuego in Guatemala erupted and all these people died. And I was like, 2013?
Oh,
That was the volcano that I hiked a few years later, like 5 years later. They're like, it's fine. Everybody get up the volcano.
well, at least it wasn't called Death Volcano, I guess.
Just called a translation like hot mountain, fire mountain.
So, so you're wandering around overseas. So I guess money soon becomes a bit of a concern. Is that what triggered you to establish the business?
Well, that's such an interesting question because basically, yes, this business that I'm still working in now, which is the digital media agency, did start because I kind of hit rock bottom. I opened a brick and mortar business, a hostel in Sri Lanka, like 2 years into my travels, I think. And
Right.
that was 2019. And then COVID hit and took away the hostel, which was my only source of income at that time. I had been doing slight freelancing and I had grown some of my own businesses. And it turned out they weren't allowing people to leave the country. No one was allowed to enter the country. The lockdown was very strict. So I found myself with no income, stuck pretty much, no way to get home. And all my savings had been put into the hostel. So I was like, what can
Oh,
I do? I need to get money to eat, to pay my hotel, things like that. So I kind of hustled really hard and started this business.
right. Okay. Okay. So you mentioned COVID. So that obviously was no good for the guest house business. Did that did that help you with the online business?
So I was able to, as I had no other option, I was kind of forced into working really hard and honing my skills and basically forced into the position where I had no other choice. So
Right.
I had previously grown my own businesses, social media. I had experience building websites, and I had helped a few local businesses back at home to get some notoriety for their brands and things. So I knew that I was able to scale online and help other businesses. So I got onto all of the freelance websites that I could. Back then, there was only like Upwork and Fiverr. So I was also posting on Facebook groups and like cold emailing and reaching out to people that way to see if anyone would take a chance and help me grow their businesses by making content for them, by running advertising, updating their websites, basically doing um, audits on their social presence. And luckily, not that many days into it, a lady took a chance on me and from Canada, and she stayed with me for about 3 years.
Oh, okay. Okay. So what would have happened? How long did you have left if you had to work really hard? What was the alternative if this didn't work?
I think it would have been trying to get back to Australia, um, getting a real job, doing all of those things, but I knew I was never going to do that. Um, the Unfortunately, like I said, my future, I thought it was going to be working in this hostel, running it. It was really, really hard, face to face kind of work constantly, like wake up really early, go to bed really late, entertain people,
Mm.
all those things. Um, so I'm kind of glad I'm not still doing that. I was helping everyone else travel while I was working really hard to make them happy. But yeah, there was no timeline. Luckily, Sri Lanka was happily to let people stay in the country as long as they needed. But the lockdown was so strict. I needed my first paycheck to get out of there.
So I know with the lockdown here in Melbourne, we were just shut down completely.
Yeah.
Couldn't do anything. What were your movements over that period? Were you able to move countries?
So it was illegal to drive on the road, illegal to basically go to your front gate. There was people with like government enforcing with weapons, making sure no one was stepping outside, all of those things. They would open the grocery stores once every 2 weeks, but they didn't give you a time or a date. They would just kind of post it on their Twitter and say the grocery stores are open today. And that's when thousands of people would rush to the grocery store. So it negated the whole lockdown thing. It was really silly. The system did work. So I built up my client base. I think I had two, and I got my paychecks, and I got a government pass to go to the airport, which was a few hours away, 2, 3 hours away. We were the only car on the road. To get the car was very difficult. Everyone was scared to drive around. Um, so I got on a plane and I went to Wales, straight back into their lockdown, but it was snowing. It was completely the opposite. So I spent Christmas snowed in Wales, um, just hustling hard, being like nonstop, just on my computer, being like, maybe this is something I can do. Now I've got my two clients. I think I can help more.
Okay, so how long were you in Wales for?
So Wales, I wanted to stay forever. It was beautiful, but the UK government had other ideas. They said after 6 months, please leave. And I said, please, can I stay? It's kind of a pandemic out there and I don't have anywhere to go. And they rejected that. They rejected my plea.
Oh,
Even as part of the Commonwealth, they didn't care. So I started scrambling, thinking, okay, I'll just have to go back to Australia. I had heard all of the horror stories. It was a nightmare for all of my friends back in Melbourne. So I looked on Skyscanner. The cheapest flight I could find back to Melbourne was $20,000. And that was just
wow.
the flights.
Was that
And
one
then
way?
that was one way back to Melbourne. I have screenshots on my phone of 10,000 and, 80 pounds. It was so wild. And then you have to pay for the quarantine hotel and then all of that business. You weren't allowed to do it privately. You had to go into these enforced hotels, which were like 4 grand. And my heart went out to all of the families who were stuck in the UK, stuck in London, um, that would have to pay that per person, per child. So I thought, I'm not absolutely not doing that. Um, I started researching who would open their borders, who would let an Australian in right now. And the only country available and close to me was Mexico. So I moved my entire life to Mexico within, I don't know, 2 weeks' notice. And yeah, where started, my business based from.
So Mexico, were there any issues getting a visa or anything?
Luckily, they were giving everyone still 6 months visa on arrival. when I was over there. And then after 6 months, I just had to pop over South America, do a visa run, climb a volcano, come back. The great part about that then was I was on the same or similar time zone to all of my Canadian and my American clients. So that was the first time ever. It was really helpful.
That's what I was about to ask. So you're traveling around spending all this money because there's airfares are going through the roof. You had the
Yeah.
Canadian client that you mentioned, but you also had a few more on board at this stage.
Yes. So in my lockdown in Wales, it was like a high intensity, full work 6 months. I just hustled in. There was nowhere to go. It was snowing. It was beautiful, but it was too cold. So I just used it as a business intensive. And I think I probably left the country with 6 clients. Most of them strangely were in Canada. I have no idea why my profile was going off over there. But yeah, it was great to finally be on the same time zone as everybody.
Did your clients, did they care whether you were in the same country or they just couldn't really, as long as you delivered, that was fine by them?
They were actually so interested and they were really excited to hear about all of my adventures and they were checking in on me. They're just humans at the end of the day. So if I ever came to them and said, "Oh, I have a blackout," or "There's a crazy weather situation," or "I'm down with Wi-Fi," everyone was so open and just happy to help. When I scaled my business a little bit more and grew my team, I had someone in every time zone. So they were able to help out. My clients will always get an answer within, a few hours of them asking a question or needing something. We're really personable. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that was going to be my next question about how you did scale up. So, you got a team of people. Uh, they were in different time zones to yourself. Is that right?
Yeah, everyone we're spread around the world. It's a super like international, multicultural team. Everyone from different backgrounds and different skills and different passions as well. I like people who are enjoying their job and having fun with it and exploring their creativity and things like that.
So, was it a conscious decision to have them in all different time zones, or is that just the way it evolved?
That's kind of just the way it evolved. And I like to hire people who want to start to live a life like I do and things like that. Even if, no matter what country they're from, I want to help them, fund their dream life if they don't have to go to an office, if that's not what they want to do. Some people do, but if people are outreaching and trying really hard to freelance and things like that, I'd love to give them that opportunity. At the beginning, it was really hard to let go of my baby, doing it all myself, just with the help of another person and letting go of my section of things, which was really the creative, and which I think is why the business got so much traction, was because we were doing different things in marketing, personally, and um, creating content that was put in front of people who wanted to see that type of stuff and not bothering wasting a cent on people who didn't want to see it. So we were like a really creative business, and me having to give that away a little bit by hiring people to help me with the creatives as we grew. I mean, I couldn't handle 10 client ads and content and everything all myself at the end of the day. I had to expand and get more people on. That was hard to do. But now that I've done that, the work's so much better because I'm not spread so thin. I can breathe and we just keep growing and I get to give other people opportunity to expand their creativity.
Well, I guess with the people you mentioned earlier, that the people you brought on were people that shared the same sort of passion as you do. So therefore, you were building a culture in the team which was really strong of shared values and what they want to aspire to as well. So I guess that probably helped with letting go because you're all this, well, not all the same, but similar sort of ambitions or similar outlooks on life.
Definitely. And everyone works so hard because this is the life that they would love to live. And everyone's so nice. No one's ever like, that looks like crap. Everyone's like, wow, oh my God, you're improving every single day. This is amazing. It's a lot of fun.
So with this business, obviously it's not a typical business because you're moving around the world.
Mhm.
Did you have to have different or more robust systems in place to to manage this, to manage the different time zones? You couldn't all get together in a room and have a meeting because you're all scattered all over the place. Your clients are all over the place. So did you have to have more robust or special systems in place to ensure everything ran smoothly?
System. Let's talk about systems. They're my favorite thing ever. So as I was talking about hard to let go, it's hard to kind of change your business when you're so rigid and you're working inside of it. You're doing all the daily tasks that need to be done to then change everything to work a little bit differently. It's hard to find the time and you kind of think that's not really important, but it is the most important thing that you can do is be constantly evolving with the new technologies and updating the way you run the business, whether that's creating a CRM and updating it all the time so your clients and all of your team can work within that, whether it's just like making a Notion spread, whether it's having a WhatsApp group, you need to create systems for everybody to be able to work together. So you're not waking up in the morning and going, here's your to-do list today. And then the next day, here's your to-do list today, because that would take so long. You need everybody to be clued in all the time. What's going on? Systems are so important because they can work 24/7. They can be working in the background. You can't. You can't be working all day, every night when someone messages you in America and it's 3 a.m. But your automations can and your all of the systems that you've set up can help you do that. So it's really important to scale. That's why letting go and having people focus on working in the business is so helpful because then you get to work on the business. Then you get to build the systems. Then you get to make everything more streamlined and easier. And everything just flows so much better when you get to work on the business. So I love them.
That is so true. And what you mentioned there, now, obviously, with you being scattered all over the world, you would have been relying on technology a lot. Technology is fantastic until it doesn't work. I'm guessing you would have had, especially going back a few years and working from different locations, inconsistent Wi-Fi or inconsistent internet access. How did you overcome those problems?
You just have to stay calm. Everything's fine. What happens in emergency situations, say you lose Wi-Fi, you can't contact your client, you immediately think, oh my God, something has gone so wrong. I've posted something horrible on someone's account and I can't see it and the world is making fun of me and all my clients have fired me. It's been 35 seconds. Like, things are everything is fine. Um, so it's kind of a mindset that you have to be in and then go to a cafe, or what an excuse to go get an iced coffee.
And what about on the client side of things? If you weren't able to, if you failed on a certain aspect because the technology let you down, how did you manage that?
That's where having such a global team is so amazing because no matter what, someone is there in any time zone that something's going on. If there's an emergency, a team member can pop in and say, "Oh my God, I can fix that within 2 minutes." But like I've said, every client is just a person. They're not gonna scream at you at the end of the day. Everybody's just trying to run their own businesses in the best way they can.
Okay, so down to communication.
Communication is the key that has kept my clients um, sticking around and coming back. So return clients if they just need me for one project, coming back. So as I mentioned briefly, I worked with somebody else on the business for a little bit, and they were handling some client communications, but the communication wasn't the strong point for them. It was more in the numbers and the analytics and everything. And I felt the retention of the
Mm.
client slipping. And it was hard, but we parted ways. And then I took back all of the client communication, which I'm still doing to this day. It's all me. It's front facing. I talk to all of them. They know me, my personality. Um, so as soon as I took that back on, I never lost another client because we're just honest with each other.
Oh, wow.
If something's going wrong, I tell them. They're like, thanks for telling me. It's all about being real. And people can feel that you're not trying to sell them on anything. You're not just trying to take their money. You're trying to help them at the end of the day. So that's what you get.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, it's about trust, isn't it? It's things do go wrong from time to time.
Exactly.
It just
And things
happens.
go wrong on their end, and I don't hear from them from a few days, and it's fine. Then they come back and they go, sorry about that. And I'm like, we're still afloat. It's fine over here.
Now, traveling's great. Yeah, I love traveling. Great experience. You see new places, new cultures, new food, new everything else, new people. Very distracting. Now,
Yes.
I get easily distracted. How do you keep focus if you're traveling around all these great exotic places? You're still running a business. You're growing the business. You've got a team. How do you keep that focus and not just wander around all day looking at all the new places you're visiting?
I know it's so hard, but depending on where I am, what I am, I change my process to adapt to the situation. So if I am like, okay, I'm going to go on a holiday, which doesn't happen. Like, I wish I went on a 2-week holiday. No, I moved to a new country and I stayed there for 8 months. And so I set up my work in a way that suits um my new work life. So it's all about adaptability. If I know I'm going to be away for a little bit, I work even harder the few days before. I block out the week before or the days before. So I've set it up, I've automated it, set up all of my systems to be working when I'm not. And then I'll do quality control every single day when I wake up. I've got my phone there. I can check everything's running smoothly. I can talk to the people I can. So I'm front loading everything, doing it all so it's all running smoothly. I can enjoy my holiday and I can just check everything is going smoothly as I go.
Okay. Okay. So as long as you manage your time basically, and then, as you said,
Basically,
automate everything.
yeah.
Yep. Okay. Okay. So technology. Let's get back to technology. Technology, you'd be lost without technology by the sounds of it. You're on your phone. You have your automations.
Oh
Everything's
my
there.
goodness.
So
I would
so
be printing out flyers or something. What would I be doing?
well, I've taken a leaf out of your book, and I've used technology, something called AI. You may be familiar with, and I've
Interesting.
gone in there. Yeah, yeah. And I said, okay. I said, I'm going to be interviewing Holly. Give me your best question. What can I ask her? And they've come up with this. Okay.
Oh my
So you
goodness,
ready
I'm
for it?
scared.
Okay. The best question according to AI for Holly Scobie. Just got to find it here. Here it is. What's the part of living and working out of a suitcase for 10 years that people glamorize, but is actually really hard?
The part of living out of a suitcase. Um, Not being able to acquire things is very hard. Not being able to pick up your souvenirs. But honestly, the lifestyle that you adapt is so different. Not having access to convenience, to familiarity and things like that when you're in unfamiliar places and circumstances that can be a bit scary or you don't know what's going on. The lack of that homely comfort is quite difficult and a lifestyle that you have to adapt to. Say you're in a non-English speaking country and something's going wrong. It's hard to shift your mindset into relying on yourself. Um, so I find that really interesting that people don't really expect. And say you watch something on TikTok and you're like, I'm gonna become a silversmith. I'm gonna dedicate my life to now making jewelry. You can't just go and do that. You live out of a suitcase. There's probably no way you can do that. The conveniences of starting new hobbies and doing new things is kind of limited.
Yeah, well, I hadn't really thought about that. You are basically constrained by the capacity of your luggage.
That's it. And people don't realize that. So you can't really acquire anything new without getting rid of something, and you become really familiar with your items because this is your whole life. And at the end of it, you can be like, I never ever want to see that pair of shoes ever again. They've seen the world. I'm sick of seeing them.
So has that had any, you lived with that mindset for quite a number of years. Has that had any long lasting effects on you now and your personality and how you live?
100%. It's kind of an impossible mindset to shake out of. The self-resilience, obviously. Me being overconfident and being like, I can do it. Anything. It's the problem. That's fine. Easy to fix. But also the living very mindfully and living very simplistically, where I find it hard to acquire new things. And I just got an apartment, and my friend house sat for me, and she had to drink her coffee out of a bowl from the hot water from the tap because they refused to buy mugs or a kettle. So she bought them both for me and said, look how much your life would improve. But I have such a temporary mindset now, that I'm like, oh, I might move. And she's like, no, you can stay there. You signed a lease. What? You can do what?
So for someone listening who wants to do what you've done and travel and run a business and think, yeah, this sounds great. What's the one thing they need to get right before they go?
Listen to this. You don't need to get anything right. You do not need to know all the answers. You do not need to know how to do every single thing to start doing it. You can learn along the way. Plus, things are shifting at a rapid pace right now. Somebody who has been in this industry for ages would not recognize it as what it is today. We are constantly having to learn everything from scratch all the time. So you're never going to know everything. You can just keep trying and keep going. So people need to stop seeing the things that are preventing them from getting where they want to be and just focus on where they want to be. So instead of seeing all of the roadblocks along the way, just take it one step at a time. Do one thing every single day for yourself and see where it comes in a month. You will have learned so much instead of trying to burn yourself out and power through it. The whole thing, learning everything you can in one day, or designing a whole website in a day, or doing every single outreach possible in a single day. Spread it out. Take your time. You'll get there. Just don't burn yourself out.
Okay, so basically just head in that direction and back yourself.
100%. And people are so understanding. What you need to know is the people that you're approaching, if you're trying to get into social media or advertising or anything like that, it's just one person that you're talking to at the end of the day who's running a business or running a company, and they're a human being. They weren't born the CEO. They know what it's like. And if you can just have honest communication with them, they will understand if you do something wrong, or if you have to go, oh, I don't know that system yet. I'll learn that. I don't know that software yet, but I'll know it tomorrow. You just have to try your best.
So now that you're back in Australia, um, what do you think the next steps are? What's in the future for Holly?
So as you know from talking to a lot of entrepreneurs have a problem. They can't stick to one thing. We have our fingers in a million pies. I'm constantly getting kept up at night by going, oh, maybe I'll start that business. Maybe I'll start that business. Or maybe I'll do this. It's just constantly thinking of what I can do next. Currently, I'm working on a creative hub for people who want to get into freelancing or any creative industry, working for yourself. There'll be inspiration on there, whether that be designing, advertising, copywriting, inspiration websites, and lots of tools and tips that I wish that I had when I was getting started to show you how to talk to people, grow, anything that you need to start this dream life of yours. And it'll all be free. It's just a resource that I wish that I had. And it's fun.
Wow, that's incredible. So basically, helping people that want to do what you do, making it easier for them to do it, giving them the support.
Exactly. And there's so much out there right now that it becomes overwhelming. And there's so many tips, there's so many inspirations. It makes your head spin how much resources is out there right now. So I just kind of want to help people, give them a smooth transition and they don't get too scared to start, because that's my problem with everything. But once you start, it all goes away. And if you fail, it's part of the life story.
Well, yeah, I mean that's part of life. I mean, every inventor or anyone that's changed the world with their technology or whatever, they've all failed at some stage. No one nails it the first time round. And if
Exactly.
they hadn't have picked themselves off of the carpet and had another go, they would have been known as a failure as opposed to a success, or probably
That's
not known at all.
exactly right. You have to be fueled by the embarrassment. You have to go, well, I failed. That was really embarrassing. I have to succeed now. So people forget about that.
So with this creative with this creative hub, you're offering that as a free resource for people.
Yes, it's a resource because I believe every person can do this. They just have to have some self-belief. And if they don't believe in themselves, I'll believe in them. And I'll say, here, look, start with this. Go there. Look at that. Does that make you inspired? And then if they're still too scared, then we can't help them.
Well, yeah, they've got to be able to help themselves. That's amazing. That's amazing. That's great that you're doing that. And what's the timeline for that? Do you know? Is that just in its embryonic stage, or are you close to launching that?
Listen, you can take a girl out of the island, but you can't take the island time out of the girl. It'll be there. It'll be there when it's ready.
Okay. Well, and make sure. Well, you let us know when you're ready, and we'll get you back on and have a chat about it, because that
Oh,
sounds like
that's
a great
amazing.
project.
Cool.
Holly, look, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the podcast, and thank you for telling your story. And no doubt you've inspired a number of other people to follow in your footsteps. So thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you so much. If anybody has any questions, just get in touch. It'll be me. We can just have a chat. If you want to hire me, everything I said was credible and not weird, I swear.
Yep, and we'll put we'll put your contact details on the bottom of the at the end of the podcast here. And
Perfect.
so that's it for today's episode of the Priority Lane. Make sure you tune in next time for the next edition. Thank you.
Thank you.
This episode is sponsored by My Brokers app, a white label app built specifically for financial advisors and wealth management professionals. If you want to know how you can have your own app exclusively for your business and your clients up and running by this time next week, visit mybrokers.app or download the free My Brokers demo app from your favorite app store.